Hey everyone, welcome back to CryptoCache. Thank you so much for joining me here today. We're taking another look at Scrt, which it's no secret, right? How awesome it's doing right now. New all-time highs. I get tons of requests right now, so I just want to make sure to cover this really quick for you. Thank you so much for asking for me to review this. It's not normal that I cover coins quickly in order essentially, but it makes perfect sense. Now, just note you're new to the channel, not a financial advisor. I've just been trading for over 15 years. My goal is to help you become more of an effective trader. And obviously, I have a trading community based on that sole principle. So I share trades with every single member. Link in the description below. Check that out in your own time, of course. But I do average a very high success rate between 80 to 85%. Take a look here at Bitcoin. One thing to note, first of all, is we did lose support at 60,000. We're down between 58 and 60,000 right now, trending closer to 58. We may lose that support. If we do, bear in mind we have a pretty decent volume amount right around 55,000. So there's a strong chance that we'll be able to bounce off of 55, 56,000, that range there, if the price were to lose and break this support level. So big picture as well, we've also got a resistance channel between 65 and 66,000. Nothing to worry about for the moment, but for lack of better terms, we're going to see what happens with Bitcoin closer to 58. If it can kind of keep consolidating closer to that range, it wouldn't be a bad place to consider taking entry. That being said, good for Bitcoin, all still well. It's actually very healthy to have the price retracing right now. It gives us more ammunition, more potential for the price to ramp up harder later based on Bitcoin dominance. There's a whole myriad of things factoring in, but generally speaking, more retracement isn't terrible for Bitcoin right now. It's actually very healthy. So don't be concerned if you are. Now, Scrt, let's take a look here. What's the price action here for today? So what, we've got 45% movement from bottom to top. Yesterday we had a doji. Today we've got a bullish, essentially engulfing. So all is well. I can totally see why that happened. Bottom line though too, and these are previous resistance levels, we've got a support level at $7 and secondary support at 732. So the support channel between 7 and 732. We'll go ahead and mark some more support and resistance levels here soon. In fact, we can go ahead and start with that right now. Take the lowest point, move on up to the highest, and essentially do that. So obviously the price is kind of averaging out right here on around 0.618. So let's go ahead and mark that. That is about what, $9.08. So 908 is a potential resistance, but also potential support. We got to see and wait for the one-day candlestick to close first. All right. And we also have what, obviously resistance is where it's at right there at about 1032. We'll mark that. That's fairly obvious. And then we can also mark this as well. Big coincidence, right? Look at that right there where the price action closed and opened here. We're looking at about what, 784. So mark that guy too. So all in all, pretty standard stuff here. Hopefully this isn't too busy, but this basically gives us some good understandings of kind of what's going on right now based on Fibonacci retracement. So the price does come back down. We know where it's going to stay and or bounce. Because oftentimes the way that I trade, and this increases my likelihood of successful trading, is waiting, obviously being patient, number one. But for two, waiting for the price to bounce off of a support or resistance level and kind of allow that to mature a little bit there and then add to my position. Right. So for example, the price, closes below $9.05 roughly right here, then we know that's considered resistance and it could push the price down. All right. Furthermore, price comes all the way down here to just say 787, wouldn't be terrible at all. It would effectively bounce off of there. That would reaffirm itself as a support level based on yesterday's price action. All right. So moving on to the RSI, we're up over 70. Perfectly fine. That's very standard. In fact, oftentimes when the price comes up over 70, it stays up over 70, and that could work as a support level. So there's a strong chance this 70 line here is also going to work as a support just as well as 905 should and could. We'll see here in a moment when the one-day candlestick closes, but I think we're in pretty good shape there. We have MACD convergence here recently. All is well. Let's take a look at the 4-hour chart here just before we dive into the 1 hour. We can kind of see how the price bounced off the support channel here. Kind of hovered around the secondary support here as well. Broke through, came up, retraced. Okay. I like that the RSI is under 70. This is very healthy on the 4-hour. I like that. Obviously, that's due to the most recent decrease, but we needed that. Healthy, reduction in price is actually a big picture, ultimately good for the movement, right? In other words, without consolidation, you can't have an increase. We wouldn't have had this, right, if it wasn't for this. So that's just kind of how it goes. So again, all good things here. I don't see anything terrible. Let's see where the moving averages are. They're trailing behind, but they're moving, right? So the 50-day simple moving average may come into play here soon. I would say in the next couple of days. So we'll pay attention to that here. Moving on to TD Sequential, let's take a quick look at that. Obviously, we got a reset. We hit up to an 8 and we reset. So what that basically just means here is we have a likelihood. Again, it's not always foolproof. If it's a state of consolidation, it'll reset a few times, but we could potentially see about 7 to 11 hours worth of consolidation or retracement. So my bet is the fact that the price may decide to come down to about 790 here and essentially, maybe hang out down here and bounce again. But there's a good chance that it could continue where it's at. But here's something to note. We got this resistance level here as well. We couldn't pick this up on the larger time frames. 970 is essentially a place in which the price has tried to pass and hasn't yet. 6 hours in a row. Okay, sorry, not in a row, but 6 hours total in the last, 24 hours of trading. So that being said, that's kind of holding the price down, and that's not all bad, right? But that didn't allow for a higher high to occur right here. So that could mean we might see retracement back down. It could also, work itself into somewhat of a wedge pattern where we see the price kind of, eventually break out to the upside. Again, we'll have to pay attention and see. I don't see any definitive patterns here yet, but I can tell you that we are progressing either towards a, potential head and shoulders. Still too early to say that, but we didn't get that second higher high, which is unfortunate. That being said, let's take a quick look at Ishimoku. We're probably really close. Yep. We are still above the cloud, which is awesome. You can see it worked as a support level here, but we want to see how the price action responds if it were to break and stay below this resistance level and see if it can bounce off of that support. Because the great thing about the cloud is it does commonly work as a support level. And let's see if we have anything here for the conversion lines. Yeah, so we're up over conversion, which is good. That's more bullish, but if we lose this conversion line and we come back down, then that could potentially mean we might see reversal. So again, still a little early, a little premature to kind of see what's going on with that, but all in all, still very good signs, big picture. I think we're going to see Scrt still continue to break out to the upside eventually. We just need to kind of consolidate sideways and just chill out for a little while, right? It did a lot of movement yesterday and today, and it's needing to find its place, right? But here's something that's kind of cool. If you look at the past, it has a tendency of ramping up and then consolidating nicely, right? So we got this ramp up here. We could even see a third leg up here and then a consolidation right about there. Because again, patterns don't always repeat themselves, but they commonly do in crypto. So it's just a very common characteristic. So surprisingly, the way that it moved before is potentially the way it's moving right now. Again, a lot of variables in play, but that's essentially what we're looking at. All right, so let's take a quick look at Fibonacci. Call it a day here, get you the price prediction, which is why you're here in the first place. Well, actually, hold on. Let's go back to the 4-hour chart for that. And get this guy right back up here. Okay. So I would say better case scenario if we were to look at this, right? If it continues on its path and we get a best case scenario, it does a very similar pump here like it did before for that second leg up. We could very well see somewhere in the range of about 1335, 1336, right around there. Now, if it does come up there, it's going to have to consolidate and retrace after, right? So you see this this retracement here. If it comes all the way up here, just know it's going to come back down to one of these retracement lines. We'll figure that out again later. We'll look at this more consistently. I'll try to make this more of a priority for the next couple of weeks to kind of see what's going on just based on the demand that I have for covering this. But I can tell you that it'll probably fulfill a very similar sentiment of what it's done before. It'll have a very similar pattern, but we got to pay attention to these retracement lines. So that being said, prediction for me, honestly, I would say best case scenario around 1335 in the next 2 to 4 weeks, right in that range. I would say by year end, probably a little bit higher, but there's a strong chance it'll get to that point. It'll have to retrace and kind of figure itself out from there. But we need time for this to consolidate and essentially, kind of relax for a moment before it legs up again. Because if it legs up right now, it's going to come back down even harder, right? So we want this to be healthy. And to me, healthy run is one that has more of a staircase pattern. So this can kind of start just consolidating, keep legging up, and just move its merry way up. That'd be even better. I'd prefer that. Again, we can't always get what we want, right? Just make sure if consider if you're taking entry here, this is the common rule of thumb. Make sure you always set 3 profit targets and a stop loss, preferably a trailing stop loss. So I recommend 3 commas as a trading bot that works very well, very user-friendly, or even Cornix through Telegram. That's what I use for my community members where I send out signals and it's fully automated. They can literally one-click follow. It's a really awesome experience there. But some kind of trading bot to help kind of make that just a better experience overall. I can assure you that unless if you get into a trade without some type of stop loss and or profit targets, you're going to be doing yourself a disservice. Okay. So again, those are things that I stress to my community members. If you need that kind of foundation, feel free to jump into my Telegram community, or more importantly, my CryptoCache Premium. I have a link in the description below to script a video on that so you know what that entails. Okay. And that's why I make these requests here. These videos are based on the requests from my community members. So it's a really awesome, environment. So check that out in your own time. Thank you so much, regardless, for referencing this video and watching this long if you had. Kudos to you. You're a trooper. I look forward to getting to know you better. Feel free to message me through Telegram, other social media stuff as well. I hope you have a great rest of your day. We'll look forward to seeing the next one. Take care.